Wait till you see the DFS stuff I have for our show.
All right, Emil Cadlick here, Saturday morning with the Gridiron Scholar, John Laub, for our live 10-team PPR mock draft. How's it going, John?
Oh, it's going great, man. We are less than 2 weeks away from the kickoff, Emil. And I just realized this is going to be my 32nd year playing fantasy football. And between you and I'm sure we have over 60 years of experience. So I'm looking forward to it.
It would be 72, by the way. Well, we got a full house today. It's going to be a lot of fun. 10-teamer. I haven't done a 10-team for at least a week. And we'll start here in a couple minutes just to make sure we go live on YouTube. Always takes a few minutes to hit live. So you got the 10th pick, the last pick in the first and the first pick in the second. Tell us about that.
You know, Emil, everyone wants to be in the top 3 or 4, and I understand that. But I think there is great value picking on the end. A lot of people don't like it, but I feel really comfortable picking in a 10-team draft, either 9 or 10, or in a 12-team draft, picking 11 or 12. I think it gives you an opportunity to read the board. You can predict runs or try to start a run because you can double dip at a position. And I think I like the idea that you can draft back-to-back wide receivers, back-to-back tight ends if you really wanted to, if you have a flex available. So I think it does allow you to take control of the draft board instead of being reactive. So I wanted to draft at the end here to show our followers how you can create scarcity at positions by double dipping on the turn.
That's a good idea. And the draft has started. It looks like we got somebody who's in his kitchen getting coffee. He's about to auto pick. Yeah, that's a good idea. I was actually in a, which one was it? It was a 14-team. Oh, he went Elliott in the first. I'm assuming that is an auto pick. Oh my gosh, it's my pick already. Let me decide who I'm going to take. I'm going to take Barkley here at the third pick. That's an interesting that a guy went with Elliott first, even though it may have been an auto pick. All right, I got Barkley. So it's heading your way in a few picks, but I was in a Cooks win, so pretty standard there. We had a 14-team, and the 14th guy took 2 quarterbacks in a row, and it was not a super flex.
Really?
Yeah, that one threw me. And he may have been doing what you're saying.
Yeah, but I think you could only do that right in a super flex. I don't think you could really do that in a one quarter. I don't see the strategic advantage in a one quarterback league.
Yeah, I agree. Alvin Kamara goes.
We got a running back run going on here, folks.
Yeah, we'll see what is that? The 6th pick gets the Hilary, which is pretty much what's been happening lately.
Absolutely, and that's our man, Dirty Randy. He was with us on Thursday night, Emil.
Uh-huh.
I think he picked out of the one hole on Thursday night.
Yes. All right, it's your pick. I don't know if you can
all
tell.
right. Yeah, I'm up here. So I'm definitely going to take my man, Josh Jacobs. There's no question about that. And I'm going to double dip here because I want a scarcity at the running back position. And this is a PPR draft. So I'm going to go with Miles Sanders of the Eagles. I feel like between these 2 running backs, they could easily combine for over 100 receptions. So I like that here. Maybe you get 2,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 100 receptions combined. So I'll take that in my backfield. And look at this. Emil, we have had in the first 14 picks, 13 running backs.
Wow. I'm a little surprised. Surprised and not surprised.
Well, I'll say this. I think I forced the running backs there to go by double dipping. I mean, and then look at the two owners right after me. They also double dip. So all of a sudden you have 3 teams with 6 running backs, 2 each. So that forces value down at wide receiver and forces other people to reach up at running back.
Fascinating. I got to start thinking about what I'm going to do here. I'm talking too much.
Amel's coming up in 3 picks.
Yes.
See, now it gets hard for these guys in the middle. Do you force the running back or do you take the value with the wide receiver? And that's the challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
so we had our second wide receiver went Julio Jones to Dirty Randy. So he started with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Julio Jones. Nice start.
Yes.
Gotta have some
and
coffee.
Tyreek Hill just went, and Devontae Adams.
Now we got. See,
those are the 2 on my queue to go.
Well, I think these owners were very smart here, right? They looked at the board and they said, yeah, the value here is at wide receiver. Even if they wanted to get back-to-back running backs, I think you'd be taking too much risk. And look at Emil, you just went DeAndre Hopkins again. So you see the value is at the wide receiver position, not at the running back position.
Yep, so far it's a draft of runs, and there's the first quarterback.
Wow. So even though I'm not against it, I would not in a 10-team PPR draft reach for a quarterback this early. We're only playing 1 quarterback a week, even though I love Mahomes and I love Lamar Jackson. I'd rather get value at the other positions and take a quarterback a little bit later.
Now let me give you a slight counter argument. If you and we only have 2 receivers starting, we have a 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a tight end and a flex, and it is a PPR. And I agree with you. The initial strategy at the 10-team league is there's so many quarterbacks. However, you only have to start 2 receivers. You have less amount of other skilled positions to worry about other than the quarterback. So a tempting philosophy would be to take one of those 2 great quarterbacks, and Godwin just went. And if you believe you can fill those other spots, then maybe you can make it work for you. Now the other thing is, what about if it was non-PPR? And then I think a quarterback becomes a lot more plausible in the 2nd or 3rd round.
In a non-PPR, I would make the argument that Lamar Jackson's ridiculously valuable because of his rushing ability, right?
Sure.
Even if he regresses to 850 yards and 8 touchdowns rushing, and let's say he regresses, I think he threw 36 touchdowns last year. Let's say he throws
35 or 36.
Yeah. So let's say he throws 28. With those rushing numbers, I think Lamar Jackson in a non-PPR at the quarterback position is incredibly valuable because that rushing, you're basically getting a running back with a quarterback.
And also recognize the fact that Kelsey went. You're also, the PPR for the running backs, receivers, and tight ends go down. Their value goes down, fantasy value goes down in a non-PPR, and the quarterback stays the same. So, it's my pick. I was thinking of Kelsey there, and obviously I didn't get that chance.
Yeah, back-to-back tight ends. Kittle
I'm going to take Aaron Jones. I know he's got to reduce a little bit this year, but I'm going to take Aaron Jones.
Emil, I love Aaron Jones. I don't understand. I like the value. I get it. He's going to regress. But how much? They have shown us that they are going to run the football. They didn't invest in wide receivers. They have a young tight end or basically an empty tight end class. They're going to run the football. Aaron Jones is still going to be a very good fantasy asset. When you're teaming him with Saquon Barkley in the 3rd round, I think that's incredible value.
Should I back him up with Dylan later on in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th round?
I probably would in that scenario, just in case he gets injured. I think there's value in Dylan.
We continue to draft running backs here after a small run of tight ends.
Yes, I do think at this point. Yeah. Let me. I got to start
You better
thinking
start
what
thinking.
I'm going to do here.
Stop talking and start thinking.
Ah!
And DJ Moore went.
Let's
I'll speak so you can think here. I have TJ Moore ranked pretty high on my cheat sheet, number 8, and he's been going much later. He did go about 8 here, if I can count right. And there goes the other quarterback, Lamar Jackson, to the humble cake. Holloway
now
goes
they're
after
putting together
him.
a very. Yep, they're doing a very balanced team. I like that.
There goes
So
Ridley.
let's see here. I have a couple options. What I'm going to do again is I see value at the wide receiver. I definitely want a piece of that Tampa Bay passing game, so I'll take Mike Evans there. So now the choice is, do I want to get a third running back, which in a league in which you only have one flex position, I think the third running back isn't as valuable. So I'm going to double dip. I love the value here. I seem to be acquiring this player a lot lately. That's Allen Robinson. I keep getting him in the 3rd and 4th round, Emil, and I can't pass up because the passing game is going to go through Allen Robinson. The targets are going to be there in Chicago.
Yeah, he's a guy who slips a little bit, and obviously you can take an advantage of that. Jonathan Taylor went.
So Brew Crew, very nice move. I had Jonathan Taylor in my queue. So it was between Allen Robinson and Jonathan Taylor. So I like how the Brew Crew put this together. 3 running backs in the first 4 rounds, and they got an alpha male in Kenny Golladay. I have Golladay as number 6 or 7 on my wide receiver board. I love him this year. So I do like the fact that the Brew Crew is going to start 3 running backs every week. So I had that decision between Robinson and Taylor. I wanted the wide receiver, so I took Robinson, but I do like what the Brew Crew has done.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we've got 3 of those end teams that took 2 running backs. 2 of them came back with receiver.
Yeah, I like that kind of build. Now it gives me a lot of options in the 5th and 6th round, which direction I can go in. I'm going to have to watch the board here and see where value falls.
Yep.
So now we got a nice diversity. Running backs, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver. So people are looking for value. Ooh, Emil, the big tight end, my man.
Yeah, I just couldn't let him go. Again, it's I only have to have 2 starting receivers in this 10-team league, so I decided to try it there. With
absolutely nothing. Oh yeah, I think that's a great move here. What I think I'm going to do, you know what, for our followers, I think I'm going to try to piece together a quarterback wide receiver combo because I do like that in fantasy leagues. I know there's always a risk in those leagues because there could be a week where the offense doesn't score, but there's also a huge correlation in having a quarterback wide receiver when they hit big. So I'm going to try to do that. I don't know, 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th to show our followers how you can put together a kind of a mini duo wide receiver quarterback combo.
So
I
you're
like
going to
doing
take
that.
Trubisky then, at quarterback?
I will say this: that combo will not be the Chicago Bears.
Okay, we've rounded it down now. We kind of have a feel for who you're going to be targeting here.
I have 31 other teams that I'm going to go for.
And it's an interesting scenario. We've got Master Mike coming up. David Johnson just went, and then I have it after that. I've got a couple guys in my queue. But we talked about this early. 2 receivers have gone for Tampa Bay in the first 4 rounds, maybe before the first 4 rounds. Yeah, the first 3 rounds. Yet people aren't drafting Brady that early. Somebody's got to be throwing the ball to those guys.
That, so I don't have a lot of shares of Brady, but I have come to the conclusion that there is value in, obviously, right, it's Tom Brady, because I'm worried about his age. But the reports are positive. The offense that is built around him is absolutely ridiculous in Tampa Bay, right? If you like all the parts, Chris Godwin, you like Mike Evans, you like, Ronald Jones, you believe in Bruce Arians. Well, Tom Brady's got to be getting yards and points, right? And he's really still coming at a very good price, Emil.
Yeah, his price is good. I forget what it is, around the 9th, 10th, or 11th quarterback taken. Nothing wrong with that, especially in a 10-team league. And we had our third quarterback go, Dak Prescott. And Metcalf is gone, and A.J. Brown, who's one of my favorite players that I never seem to get to draft, because I had Cooper Kupp or A.J. Brown. And if it had been a non-PPR league, I'd have probably gone A.J. Brown. I really like him, but how do I, he's going early enough that it's almost your pick, so hopefully you're thinking away. And Zach Ertz.
I am thinking. Ooh, so let's see here.
All right, you got a couple seconds to think here. Chark went.
I think I know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to split the value here, and I'm going to take one receiver and one running back because I want to be able to have backups. I like this player in this round very much. I'll take Mark Ingram here. I still, when I don't have Lamar Jackson, I'm very comfortable taking Mark Ingram in the 5th or 6th round. He's still going to get his touches, and I believe there's still really high up-end value, especially because I do believe that they are one of the best offenses in the NFL. So I'll take the running back there. Now, I'm a little higher on this player than most, so I'm going to take him here. I'm going to take Courtland Sutton. I do believe in this Denver offense. They are loaded all over at the skill positions. They are young, I understand. I think Drew Lock is good enough to get the football into their hands. But with Courtland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Melvin Gordon, Lindsey Phillips backing him up, I like the wide receiver here. So now I feel good. I got 3 receivers and 3 running backs who I believe in, Emil. So now I can look for an undervalued quarterback wide receiver stack here in round 7 and 8.
Sounds good. I like the plan. Sutton, you got him. I think there was about the 18th, 19th receiver, so he's not that early. It's a good spot for him.
No, I think I have him at rank 16. So, I mean, I don't have my rankings open. It's in if you want to get the Football Diehards magazine on the newsstands, or it's on the internet, you can go there and you get the digital copies. I have Courtland Sutton at 16, maybe 17, but I do like him there.
Now, back to your bottom of the 5th pick. Oh, it's my pick here. Mark Ingram, are you worried about Dobbins stealing some of his thunder?
So I will say this. There will be a time in round 11 or 12 where I'm going to have to attempt to grab Dobbins in case of an injury. But I do believe, especially early in the season without the OTAs and the training camp, and the coaching staff likes Mark Ingram. I mean, he's just a great professional. So I like Ingram here. I think you're still going to get 250 touches. So I'll take that shot here any day.
Fantastic. I just took
Terry McLaurin.
I had a tough choice because I wanted to take Hunt, but I see a couple other running backs. I have a really tough choice here. You think in the 6th round it would be easy, but to me it's a tough call. I've got 3 or 4 guys here. Go ahead.
And Hunt went right after you. Right after you mentioned it, there goes Hunt.
Yep.
So you were on the right track. Other people were thinking the same thing.
I thought maybe he'd last 3 more picks, but he did not.
I kind of like my confirmation bias when it comes back to my side, right?
Yes.
You're like, okay, I liked him, and then he went right off the board after I had him in the queue. I like that.
I guess I could like it, but again, you can't have everybody. You got to plan the rounds out. Hilton, who's a little undervalued because of his injuries issues last year. Swift just went. So, gosh gollies, I was either going to take Swift. Right now, it's Hollywood Brown or Donald Jones. I'm going to take Hollywood Brown.
I cannot help you with.
Yeah, go ahead. Fire away. I got 40 seconds.
I like these 2 guys. I'm going to make you choose.
Oh, that's how you're
Because I
helping
like
me?
both.
I'm going to take
I'll say
Hollywood.
this. I'll give you. Oh, sweet. I had him in my queue. I loved Hollywood. So that's
As
a
a matter
nice
of
one.
fact,
Another tight end.
I probably should have considered
got-
Fuller instead of Hollywood. I'm talking too much because Fuller is a real value right here. And he's probably not coming back to me. So it was one or the other. Another tight end goes Ingram.
So here, yeah, I was just going to say we got 5 tight ends on off the board. In a 10-team league, there's still value at the tight end position for sure. I do agree that Kelsey, Kittle, and Andrews are worth those selections in rounds 3 and 4. I prefer the 4th, but I understand why people get him in the 3rd. Evan Ingram, I'm not as high on him as others, but I do understand why he's being taken. One is the injury concerns. He hasn't really made it through the full season. And actually, the Giants have weapons with Sterling Shepard, with Demarius Slayton, and with Golden Tate. Daniel Jones is going to get some touches near the goal line. So I kind of have Ingram pushed down the board more than others.
Well, if he could stay healthy, if you look at his numbers when he's healthy, they're fantastic. So
they're great
potential.
You're right.
I don't know where he's going to be going. I don't have his ADP in front of me. That's not a horrible place, the 7th round. And if the guy fires out, yes.
Our man Dirty Randy was listening. Dirty Randy's a good drafter. He took Ronald Jones. His wide receivers. Look at his wide receivers. Julio Jones, DJ Moore, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen. I didn't even see that, actually. 6th round on Keenan Allen as your 4th receiver. Oh, Devontae Parker went. I was hoping to get him.
Yep.
He was in my queue.
Yeah,
all right,
got
3
some
away.
Nice receivers also.
Absolutely.
Yeah, now we have 5 quarterbacks gone. So if you kind of consider Watson the bottom of this middle level, we're kind of getting close to it. Zach Moss goes a little earlier than he usually does, and this guy's got now 4 running backs. Bruce Crew, I guess it is.
Brew Crew, maybe.
So where's his weakness? He's got a great quarterback. He doesn't have his tight end yet, and he's got 2 running backs. And Zach Moss is a nice running back for your RB2. It's not a bad little team. Let's see what he can do with the... Go ahead.
I'm picking, so I'm listening right now. And I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to show people how I would stack a wide receiver quarterback duo. Bingo! Who'd I take, Emil? Who'd I grab? Did you see?
Oh, yes. You know what? Fantastic. In the top of the 8th, that's a good spot for Fuller.
Yes.
That's a great.
Yes,
those are great
and
picks.
I took Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller. I get my quarterback wide receiver stack. Why I love Fuller even more here is he's my 4th receiver. I don't have to rely on him. But man, I could get some real good if I get those right starts with Fuller and Watson. I love that stack, and that came at a good price in my mind. Now, I was looking at the Cowboys. Dak Prescott went before I could get him and Michael Gallup. And I was also looking at Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf. Those were the 3 quarterback wide receiver stacks. And look at Perryman was smart. I like what he did here. He had Calvin Ridley in round 3. And right after I took Will Fuller, he comes back with Matt Ryan. And Crew. Sweet. Someone's listening. He's got Golladay and Matthew Stafford. I like the wide receiver quarterback duo, my man.
I just, I guess I'm old, but I just don't get it. I just draft quality players, but I guess I'm not a DFS mindset person. And I better start thinking here. My pick's coming up, and all my queue is gone. You stole all my players. I'm not sure what to do.
I lost you a little bit.
Oh, I was just babbling away. It's my pick here. Brandon Cooks goes. Another tight end is gone.
I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Sorry, everyone, for the interruptions.
Yeah, I can hear you. All right, it's my pick.
Can you hear me, Emil?
Yes.
Oh, okay, there you go. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
I'm going to take Dobbins and mess with you.
Oh! Oh, you stabbed me. That's who I want.
You ain't
Look,
getting
that's
Dobbins
definitely
in
who
the
I was
bottom
going
of
to
the
target.
ninth.
Yeah, I was hoping, so I had to make a decision, right? For our
Sure.
viewers, I wanted to show the quarterback wide receiver duo, and that's what I did. Now, probably if it wasn't just to illustrate how I would put this together, I might have gone Watson and Dobbins and then taken Brandon Cooks in the ninth. But I decided I wanted to do this for the viewers, and I'm okay with it. I'll get a fourth running back later in the draft. So I'm okay, but that probably would have been the wiser decision. Take the cheaper asset in Houston and then get my backup. But yeah, that was a smart move, Emil.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, look at the team too. Mystery Mike. He's a little thin at,
Yeah.
and he got Jarvis Landry,
Oh,
who's kind of sliding, and he's a guy who always produces.
absolutely. So you're right. He has four running backs. So with Christian McCaffrey, he's got a really nice running back room. But he clearly needs some help at the wide receiver. I would think he goes wide receiver here, but I could be wrong because he's only got two. Now he only has to start two, but there is value at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, I guess I got to start thinking here. I'm coming up.
I was just putting some people in my queue because I'm starting to notice here that there's my there you go, Emil. I'll start talking here. There's definitely value on the board, at positions. People should be looking. Now, I have to think of a possible tight end, too. That's something Ooh, Emil. Tell everyone who you just got.
Tom Brady.
There you go.
I have there's a lot of people
Now,
here. I could have probably waited another round, but I just decided to take him.
Ooh, I like it, though. Now, do you have Godwin? No, you do not, and you don't have Mike Evans because I got. But I still love it.
Doubling up. It's just about
yeah.
The guys about. I'm a little ahead, but I'm kind of at the end. I didn't want to wait two loops. Anyway, I could have waited. It was a strategy.
So you like? No, you like Brady over Breeze and Wentz?
No, I don't. I like Wentz, but I have no stock in Brady. And I thought, you know what? I need to. I'm way on the left side of this draft, and I just don't know if he'd be around in the 10th. So It's an important thing, I think.
I totally understand that.
Yeah, I think one of the things that. Oh, it's your pick, so just don't listen to me. Newton just went also. I think it's important for people if you're in
it's
4
always
or
a
5
pleasure
or
listening
6
to you.
drafts, you can mix up your players. You don't want to take the same quarterback in all 8 of your drafts. I mean, if you really believe in him. But okay, go ahead and talk about your pick there.
I took Deontay Johnson of the Steelers. So sometimes he goes way too early for me. But if Ben Roethlisberger's healthy for the whole season, I would like to get a piece of that Pittsburgh offense. I like the value here. Early in the draft season back in March, I was able to get Deontay Johnson, but then his price has risen so much, so I was not able to dip into him. But here I am. I think I feel good with him as my 5th wide receiver. So now I'd like to get a running back, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm willing to take a risk for a high-end player. So I'm going to take someone I like, even though it's risky. I'm going to take Sony Michel as my 4th running back. Good reports the last couple of days off the PUP list. If he hadn't been on the PUP list for the summer, he would not have fallen this far. So I'll take the high-end upside of Sony Michel. I like it here. It's not great, but he's my 4th running back, so I'll take it.
And that's excellent. Also, notice the Perf man, I guess it is. He doubled up at quarterback.
Yeah.
He got a little bit of a reach at running back, but was he covering his bases? No, he wasn't covering his bases. And we've already got a double up at quarterback with Brew Crew.
Yeah.
And I was going to talk about Mystery Mike, who only had 2 receivers, and he got Landry and he got A.J. Green at a very, very comfortable price early in the 2nd round. So he's making some moves there at wide receiver.
You're right. Landry and A.J. Green, yep. Now, it's interesting. 2 teams in this 10-man draft still do not have a quarterback. Dirty Randy has gone 10 picks without a quarterback, and Love Them Colts have gone 9 picks without a quarterback. So both of those owners, I would assume, feel comfortable with the value on the board at the quarterback position, and they're playing chicken or waiting for extreme value at the quarterback position.
And with 10 teams, there's not a lot of chicken going on. I love that strategy. I just happened to decide to take Tom, he's the 9th round. But there's, as we've talked before, there's so many ways of going in a draft with quarterback. And that's the beauty about having a one starting quarterback is you can, as the draft progresses, you can decide to do a lot of different approaches to get your quarterback or even 2 quarterbacks. Oh, I got sniped by Higbee. I was going to take Higbee. John KBA just sniped me with 2 tight ends. I really wanted Higbee there. I'm just torn now. I don't know what to do.
Well, do you like having I guess my question would be, do you like having 2 tight ends? Because there's value at the tight end position.
Yeah, again.
My man.
What's that?
Oh, I love Darius Slayton. I love him.
Yeah.
It was between him and Deontay Johnson, but I'm so over-invested in Darius Slayton because he was so cheap back in March and April that I decided to go with Deontay Johnson because I probably have, let's see, if this is my 25th draft, I was counting the other day, I think I have 11 shares of Darius Slayton.
Oh, wow.
So I've been that's
pretty high.
I've been pulling back on Slayton recently.
Well, Mason Wade took Marvin Jones, which is a great pick in the 10th round. I was looking between him and Slayton, and Jones went and Higbee went, so I got burned. But always be ready. Have 3 or 4 people in your queue as much as you can, and be thinking about your options. And don't be focusing on one player. I was focusing on Higbee, but I was ready to switch that. Be disappointed for a few seconds and get your focus back and make good picks.
Absolutely.
Lindsay.
Now this is interesting. Will Love Them Cats? Will they come back with a quarterback here? They have back-to-back and 9 rounds without a quarter. Oh, they go Matt Breida. So they haven't yet. Let's see what he does.
And Breida, another nice late, middle to late round player you can get who could get a lot of play in Miami.
There he goes. Great value.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz.
Wentz
Wentz
last year, everybody talked about how devastating the year was, yet he ended up the 8th fantasy quarterback. So how devastating is that to have him on your team in the first pick in the 11th round? Not bad.
I love getting Carson Wentz. I think I got him in both. No, I got him in one of our 2 magazine drafts, Emil. And the other draft I went with because it wasn't a PPR, so I did a different quarterback. But I have Wentz a lot too. The value. I mean, I still like the Eagles' offense. I know there's concerns with the offensive line. I get it, but I believe in Peterson and the skill set of Wentz. I like their weapons. They've improved them, so I still think Wentz will be productive.
I do too. Obviously, there's some questions about him. Go ahead.
Yes. Now, Dirty Randy, he's the last one without a quarterback.
He's just showing
Aaron
off.
Rodgers. When you have... Crowder's in my queue.
Crowder is gone.
Wait. Oh, he's gone. He was in my
Brew
queue.
Crew stole him. I'm very disappointed in Brew Crew.
They're drafting too well.
They're doing well. I'm a little stumped. I've got 30 seconds. I'm not prepared right now to make a pick. Let me do this real quick, and I better hurry up. I've got 2 choices. That's the backup or not, and I'm not going to. I'm going to take Preston Williams a little earlier than I kind of was planning, but I kind of got stuck.
Here's a good question. Do you feel good with Preston Williams this year? Because I see him getting a lot of publicity. Like, people are talking about him. You like him at this point? Do you like him this year?
Well, I think he's a good pick. Obviously coming back from the injury is not good, but in the 11th round, maybe I could have waited a little later. It's all about when you get down into these rounds, the ADP kind of goes away, and you're kind of taking shots at players that could end up doing well. No fun coming back from an injury, but yeah, I think he's a good pick there.
All right, because I have Devontae Parker a lot, so I would never get two Dolphin wide receivers. So I'm very fascinated. Loved him at Colorado State. He originally went to University of Tennessee because of some off-field challenges. He left Tennessee, ends up at Colorado State. Was a complete monster. I mean, the physicality, the size, the speed, it's all there. But then he got hurt last year. I mean, he was having a good freshman season, and I believe he was an undrafted free agent, right? I don't think he got drafted. So, I mean, look, I really like the story. I like the player. I just end up with too much Devontae Parker. Now, I was thinking, Emil, as a sneaky pick for you, Rob Gronkowski is still on the board here. And with Tom Brady, that might be fascinating. That's just what I was thinking. All right, so I can't play chicken anymore at the tight end position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my guy. I'm all in Mike Gesicki. That's another reason why I don't have Preston Williams. I have a lot of Mike Gesicki, and I have a lot of Devontae Adams. So I decided I'm going to take my tight end here, and that's why I was just asking about Preston Williams. And now I'm going to take – what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest and lock up the Patriots' backfield. I'm going to go with Damian Harris here. I did this the other night in our 12-team Superflex. I locked up the 49ers with Ramin Mostert and Tevin Coleman. Today, how the draft board falls, I will try to lock up, and there's no guarantee. Injuries always occur, and I know, as our partner and teammate Bob Harris says, the Patriots are the Gordian knot of the NFL. I get it. But I'll take Michelle and Harris and hope that one of them becomes the lead dog the majority of the time.
And that's a real smart idea. The 12th round, that's not bad. I don't really know. His ADP's kind of been bouncing around. It may go down a little with with the return of Mitchell.
Sony
Michelle. And
I mean,
but so maybe you could have got him later, but you're at the end of the draft, so that's not good. Goddard just went.
Yeah, I was worried that there would be, let's see, that was 18 picks before my next one, and I didn't want to risk locking up the New England backfield. So that's why I did it there.
And that's an excellent point that people ought to consider and understand is those kind of things. You've got to, when you wait, you've got to have options, and you didn't want to lose that, so you took them perhaps a round earlier, but you're at the end, so what you going to do? Got to make the choice.
Yes. And sometimes you have to I know you and we've discussed this. Those long runs, especially in a 12-team league on the end, you have to make sure you're proactive and understand how many selections are going to go before it comes back to you. So we had two tight ends here.
Matter of fact, another thing in one of our videos that we've got, Jared Cook went New Orleans to Dirty Randy, good old Dirty Randy. Also got Drew Brees around before. Is you got to count the players. If you've got 18 players between your picks, you can literally go down your skill positions on your rankings and kind of decide how many of each position of those 18 are going to go to kind of say, now here's what I think is going to be left. So then that kind of helps you decide who you're going to take at that point.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Now, look, we had a massive run on tight ends here at the end of round 11 and 12. Out of 8 picks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tight ends went. Oh, my God, look at this. Now we got out of 8, 9, 10, we ended up with 6 tight ends went in rounds 11 and 12. Yeah. And I like what Dirty Randy did here with Drew Brees. He was the last team to grab a quarterback. So he acquired Drew Brees, and then he got his piece of that Saints passing game in Jared Cook. I like that.
Yeah, that's very nice. Oh, gosh. I kind of wanted Noah Fant, and I've lost him. and Gronk went.
I
So
was thinking of him too.
the run continues.
Yeah, all the backups went, right? The board was swept out of value at the tight end position.
There's two more left that I like that I'll sit back and see if one of them makes it to me in one more pick.
There are tight ends. You're right. There are some value you could get, you can hit on here. So one of my questions is, while you're taking a
All right,
pick
so would
here
you
and
take
making
Hawkinson as a flyer, or would you take Jack Doyle in Indianapolis?
I tend to go for the home run. I'm going to go TJ Hawkinson. Doyle's the safer pick, but I want to go for the next, star. And Hawkinson has that upside.
He does, and I'm going to take Doyle. Well, I just feel with Rivers and with Ebron gone, Doyle could end up. And I love Hawkinson. I love Hawkinson's, but I just decided to go with the Indianapolis system.
No, I like Doyle too. You should get like 50, 60 receptions, 600 yards, right? 6, 7 touchdowns with Phil Rivers. That's his floor, I think. So I do like Doyle, but I don't think he could get over 900. Possible, I guess, but not likely in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to run the ball.
Yeah, but if they're going to be behind, then they're going to run it in a little while, and then perhaps they're going to pass the ball. And there's Jones, who I was considering, but I decided to go with a second tight end. There's a couple more quarterbacks that I may consider here in our quote-unquote last round, the 14th round. All right, Adrian Peterson, Tevin Coleman. You got to start thinking about what you're going to do here. You got 2 picks left.
Oh, you're right, my friend. You're right.
1 quarterback, 1 tight end, and you got a bunch of other players.
Yeah, so I have some decisions to make. My first one is, do I want a quarterback, a backup? In a 10-team league, knowing that the waiver wire will provide someone later on. Like last year, remember, no one drafted Ryan Tannehill unless you were in a super deep 14-team, super flex, duper quarterback league, and you drafted Tannehill to back up Marcus Mariota. So I'm going to pass on the backup quarterback, even though there's clearly value on the board I love here. So the question is, I have a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end in my queue. So I know one of the positions I'm going to take. So then the question really now is, do I want a backup tight end? So I'm going to be thinking about that for a little bit here. Let me see. So I'm going to go with I'm overinvested. I like him. I'm going to go with Duke Johnson. I'm taking him to illustrate how much I like him in a PPR scoring format. In general, if I had 2 Texans, I probably wouldn't take Duke Johnson. But for the purpose of this draft, I'm okay with Duke Johnson here. So now I come down to, let me see, how many wide receivers? 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 wide receivers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs, 1 tight end. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my backup tight end, and since you were so kind to have him drop to me, I'll take TJ Hawkinson and hope for the best.
Well, that sounds good. Now, recognize we're going 14 rounds in this mock draft, and typically we don't have a kicker and a defense, so it's effectively a 16 round. So essentially, if you're doing 16 rounds, this is it. If you got an 18-round league, you've got a little more flexibility. You can take a second quarterback later. Jen Ryan, she refuses to take a second quarterback in a lot of her leagues. In high stakes, when you're going 18 to 20 deep, I see second quarterbacks go easily. They want to make sure and have that because it's such a deep roster. People can hold players, which includes quarterbacks.
And you don't want to spend like 70% of your fab on a backup quarterback because of an injury. I agree with that. Now, if we had gone 18, 19 rounds, I would have probably taken a second quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I'm okay and a 10-team league is different than a 12 or 14 also, right? So I just quickly had looked at the board. Ben Roethlisberger, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Ryan Tannehill, Jimmy Garoppolo, Gardner Minshew are all still on the board.
Oh,
So
by the
I'm
way,
okay.
I
Yeah.
got you. Humble Cake, I just wanted to mention, took Darrell Williams, who right now is kind of
Oh,
leaning as the number 2 running back in Kansas City. And, you never know what's going to happen there. That's an excellent 14th round pick. I was seriously considering him
I,
in 3 more picks.
yeah, I just saw that. I think Bob wrote about it in the update, the flash update
Yeah.
on diehards.com. I did see that Darrell Williams has been named the second running back
Yeah.
off. So that could have huge value. I mean,
It
that
could
could
have
be,
huge
that's the type of home run pick.
These are the really nice picks, that can help you win leagues late in your draft. This is 14th round, effectively 16 because we don't have kickers and defenses. These are the kind of
Yeah.
things, and he could completely do nothing this year. But that's the probability thing you're looking at. Looks like a Justin Jefferson with Minnesota went, and
Yep.
Jerry Jeudy for Denver, and it's my pick. It's my last pick. I feel kind of sad.
Woo! How, did you want a quarterback, or what do you think?
No, there's too many. There's a Darrell Henderson as the Rams is very interesting. You've got Henry Ruggs, you've got Deshaun Jackson, you got Alan Lazard. Those are just to mention a few. So I'm really upset that I have so many options. Isn't that funny? I'm going to take Darrell Henderson this late as a wild card for a team that's extremely productive, and we'll see whether he can't get ready this season after a rough rookie season. There's 2 more double ups at quarterbacks at the very end. Roethlisberger to Mystery Mike, and he's got 3 quarterbacks. And then Joe Burrow,
Ooh.
the darling rookie, went to Team 1. Love dem Colts.
Oh, yeah. Hey, with Carson Wentz and Joe Burrow as his 2 quarterbacks, he got great value. 11th and 14th round of the drafts. That's great.
Yeah, that's very good value.
Because he was patient.
Yeah, and as we talked,
he
there's
waited.
so many different ways to go at quarterback with a 1 quarterback league and a 10-team league. It gives you more options. And so it's very tempting to go late. What's ironic with Mystery Mike, he got 3 quarterbacks, and one of them was Patrick Holmes. So he's hoarding quarterbacks. Let's see. I only have 1 quarterback. Dirty Randy has 1 quarterback. And Humble Cake has 1 quarterback, and the Gridiron Scholar.
Oh, you're right. He's got Lamar Jackson, so that makes total sense, too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, hopefully he won't need anything. And like you were saying before, you got Tannehill, you got Goff, Roethlisberger went, you got Baker Mayfield, you got Bridgewater. There's a lot of guys there that he can pick up in the first few weeks of the season just to get a backup, to make sure he's not hurting. And you can probably get him pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Too. Well, these guys did really well. This was an excellent draft. And
it was a blast.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It went too quickly, but I'm glad we did it. Glad we did a 10-team league. But everybody looked like they did extremely well. I really liked the drafting. There was some great early picks and middle round picks, and guys like Darrell Williams for Humble Cake was an excellent pick. A lot of these last 14th round picks were really strategic picks and very good.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at teams that I really like how Brew Crew assembled his roster. Through 5 rounds, he has 3 running backs and 2 wide receivers. I really like Kenny Golladay a ton. DJ Chark is a great pick in the 5th round. And then he dips into the top 5 running backs, depends on how you have him. But Russell Wilson as a starting quarterback there, I like that in the 6th round. And he took many people, and myself, included Hayden Hurst there in the 8th, 9th round at tight end. And he backed it up with Ian Thomas has become a sleeper in the fantasy industry lately. We were talking about Ian Thomas on our DFS show, Emil, and the value he's undervalued right now in DFS salary cap format. So that's a nice value. I like that. And Dirty Randy, who was with us the other day, he had a very nice draft, and he was patient and waited till round 11 to get a quarterback. and round 12 to get a tight end. He put together another very solid
Yeah,
team.
that's a good one. And back to Gru Crew, he also got Jamison Crowder to kind of put a little extra ump on those because he took so many running backs early. Crowder was got a lot of targets, a lot of catches for the Jets, and he's a guy you can get late who's got a lot of value.
Absolutely. And he got Zach Moss. That's
Moss,
a nice
yeah.
pick, too.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
Yeah,
very excellent draft. Well, fantastic.
Excellent draft.
Thank you so much, and thank you, everybody, for drafting. You guys did a great job. Glad we got a 10-teamer in. We'll see what we do next Tuesday, and you guys have a great time drafting this weekend if you got drafts. John, you got any drafts this weekend?
I don't actually this weekend. I have a bunch next week and next weekend, but nothing actually this weekend. I have a college fantasy football one tomorrow night. So I'm still trying to get a college season in here.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, John. Great drafting, and thanks, everybody. Good luck in your drafts to follow.